Yeah, well, I don't know yet. I don't know.
Give me a while and I will infiltrate your area of expertise.
And who are you? Trying to get at it? I'm a boss. I speak the truth, only the truth, and nothing else.
Hey, what's up? My name is Nina.G and welcome back to Music Talk. We're here with another episode, and if you haven't been keeping up, make sure to check out my other episodes. And today I'm going to be talking to Manny, who is so dope. He's worked with some dope people and he's been doing some really dope things, and I'm just super excited. So make sure to leave a like if you like the video. Make sure to comment any questions you may have for myself or for Manny, and we're going to head over to Zoom now to talk to Manny.
Welcome, Manny. What is up, man? Welcome. Tell us. Hi, how are you?
Nina, the girl boss savage. Listen, the girl boss savage. It is a pleasure to be here. I'm so grateful you asked me to do this, like, first sort of interview in this kind of format. I'm happy. I'm very excited to get into this and to just talk music and stuff with you.
So for our audience who maybe don't know you, and just in general, tell us who you are.
I am a session musician from South London. So I play bass guitar. I also play a little bit of this weird thing here called the bass synthesizer. Yeah, basically I've just been busy around London for the past 4 or 5 years doing gigs, recording sessions, live video shoots, music video shoots as well. I did my first one that came out a few days ago. Artists I've worked with include James Vickery, Arlo Parks, Wizkid, Shay Lingo, and a whole bunch of other guys. Luke Burr, I have to shout out as well. There's so many people that I need to give shout outs to. We'd be here for a hot second.
So I met you at Record Shop in Shoreditch.
Shout out to D.
Yes,
man, like
shout
D.
out
Grant.
to D. Grant. I met you there, and you're amazing. First of all, I guess I never actually even asked you out the day. Shame on myself. But what is your origin story? How did you start doing what you're doing now?
It was a dark day back in 2014. Just we're gonna start seeing the comic book panels just swiping across the screen. Just I remember it like it was yesterday. But on a real, in terms of my bass playing career, I started off playing bass randomly in like my secondary school or high school for y'all Americans, and I was just sitting in the practice room playing bass. Music teacher comes in and he's like, "Yo, Manny, do you want to play bass in the jazz band?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, man." From then on, I just spent a lot of my time playing bass and shedding around and just messing around. I started doing my A-levels. This is going to surprise a lot of people. I took A-level music, but I didn't do the GCSE. I got a U in A-level music. Complete fail. From there, I decided to do a diploma course at the uni I'm at now. I think the first person I ever did a gig with in London was a fellow called Don Kent. He's a real guy, man. I think for the first couple of years, I was just doing a lot of free gigs. After building up a lot of more connections, finally started getting to a place where not only was I really busy every week, but I was starting to see like a little bit more of monetary income or monetary gain, as well as like widespread recognition. The most important thing for me on this musical journey is just doing it for the love of music.
Could you describe to us your first gig? How did that feel? What was it like?
It was at this really small venue in Fulham called the Troubadour. I was playing with the bro, Don Kent. It was a great experience. I invited my parents out, something I don't do anymore. But I think I'm waiting until... The reason why I haven't done it is because I'm waiting until I start doing like bigger shows where like I can officially have a decent guest list. By that point in life, I was kind of used to the concept of performing in front of people. I enjoyed it wholeheartedly, and it just kind of set me up for gigging just in general. Like the whole layout of the thing, you get to the venue, you set your stuff up, chill in the green room for a bit or go get food before the show and do your gig, and then you're done, you go home.
I don't hear about that side of the industry. You know, the people who play the instruments, it's always interesting because as an artist, knowing instrumentalists is so important because the whole show goes from 0 to a 10 dependent on your instrumentalist, the way the show presence is for everyone that's on it, because it brings us back to the roots of music, of why we love it and why we vibe to it. It's the beat and it's the sound and the rhythm that we follow that we love so much. So I think it's super interesting hearing that. You recently did a music video. Tell us about that.
So the story behind that was they're a band called the Indios. I think they've kind of switched up their sound quite a bit. So they're doing a lot of reggaeton, and it's out now. The song is called La Primavera. they hit me up. They send me a message probably like a good few days in advance to be like, yo, are you free? Can you come down and do the shoot? Just to fill in for Kwesi as a favor. I was like, yeah, cool, man. I'm down to do it. What do I need? It was a really good shoot day. I feel like it was definitely a wake-up call for me to sleep a bit earlier. I definitely had a couple of moments on set where I was fast asleep, probably snoring for a good 2 to 3 minutes. I woke up, there was no music playing. It didn't look like anything was happening on the set, and I just kind of had to get my bearings. I was like, yo, is anything happening? What is happening? What time is it? Where am I? Are we still doing this thing?
What would you say is the difference, I guess, between playing for a music video and playing live?
In that particular music video setting, I was miming, so there wasn't any real sort of playing that I had to do. It was just more a case of just move your fingers around, make it look exciting. The live video shoots I've done, it's been a bit of a mixed bag, I think. It's mainly just trying to make sure that we get a decent recording capture. In a lot of the shoots I've done, the visuals are always fine, but it's usually just trying to make sure that we get a good audio take. That tends to be the struggle. It takes a lot of time. Doing those like live video shoots can take anywhere from like 4 or 5 hours to like a whole day. I think one of the coolest shoots I remember doing was the James Vickery ones, the live in London shoots. I met James sort of backstage at Glastonbury the previous year. We kind of chopped it up. I said hi, had a short conversation with the MD, my bro Duncan Boyce. Absolutely one of the coolest guys. He literally just gave me a shout one day over IG and was like, hey, we've got this video shoot coming up, sort of a live recording vibe. Would you be down to come through? I feel like we got to play some really cool music that day and kind of make magic as well.
So we've discussed that you've played bass live, that you've played it, in music videos. What is it like playing it in the studio?
Obviously, recording is just a completely different environment. Speaking just primarily from a UK experience, I think quite a lot of what we expect is just you need to be able to play, I guess, a lot of what the producer expects of you. And the simpler you're able to keep it, the better, especially if you're, on a rhythm instrument. But it all depends on the situation you're in and who you're recording for, and again, specifically what kind of vibe they're going with. So in some sessions, I'm just allowed to be free, do whatever the heck I feel like, and just go off on one. Most times I'll do my utmost to be disciplined and try and just play a consistent bass line for as long as possible so that they have as much as they need to be able to, comp the take together. A good example of this would be when I went to the recording session for Wizkid, a track called Blessed.
He said,
yeah,
I went to the studio, to record a track for Wizkid for his newest album that is super big.
It is a blessing of an opportunity, but I think one of the things that I kind of went in with was a fear of God, first of all, because it's literally like, who am I to be in this recording session with the actual Wizkid? But for the most part, I was just listening and taking in the space and just trying to see what was happening, because I really wasn't about to have big old conversations with Wiz, who is doing his own thing in the studio.
How did that actually come about?
I think during lockdown, I've just had the opportunity to do a lot of recording at home, and one of the bros, Alex, he got me in touch with an artist called Jay Warner, who's absolutely one of the coolest dudes that I've had the pleasure to meet with. He's real good people. And he called me one day and he was just like, hey bro, my guy Pro, the executive producer on the record, also known as PTJ. Pro needs a bassist for a session tonight with Wizkid. To be fair, I was out of the house and my signal wasn't great, so I didn't quite catch the Wizkid detail. I thought I was dreaming. Session somewhere in West, someone needs me, and generally my policy is try not to say no. And then later that night, I found myself in Metropolis Studios next to Wizkid. Literally, I think as soon as I heard it, I just knew it was going to be one of the tracks that people were going to love immediately.
I love it.
Big shout out to PTJ for allowing me to be in that space. Jay for giving me the call as well. Without them, this wouldn't have happened.
I feel like this is such an interesting conversation to have with you, because I know that there's so many people who play instruments, but they feel bad because they don't also sing. And I think it's important to note that you don't have to be able to do everything. While yes, there's a high competitiveness to be able to do more than one thing, everyone has a role and everyone has, you know, a place within the industry, which brings me to, I guess, the question, what advice would you give to people who love to play instruments, who want to get out there a little bit more?
First things first, like always like take the plunge with opportunities whenever they come up, because you never know what will come next. I'd say do seek out the paid opportunities when you can, if that's kind of what you're going for. But first and foremost, make sure that you're doing this for the love of music, because if you are getting into music for anything outside of the love of playing music and experiencing music with other people, I think you're gonna lose the love for it very quickly. I think at the end of the day, it's all about acknowledging what it is you are capable of doing, what it is you want to be doing as well, and just trying to make sure that you keep your eye on the ball, more or less. The truth of the matter is, when it comes to music, there's space for everyone. There's space for absolutely everyone to create, to play, and to express themselves. Networking. You must network. As much as, you know, I know there's definitely some people who are a little bit more shy and more introverted. It's a must. There's plenty of opportunities that are out there online if you use LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and just sometimes send a message to people. Just pop up and be like, hey, I do this, I play this instrument, I've been doing it for a few years, I've got some stuff linked on my profile. If you want to check it out, let me know, but I would love to work with you if you're down at some point. I've joined an app recently called Clubhouse, which if you're on Twitter, you've probably heard that it's been blowing up for a number of reasons. A lot of the chat rooms are full of people who are just involved in music, involved in A&R, you know, PR, marketing, advertising, production, and all that really good stuff. And a lot of people are just so dope to talk to. And it's great to hear a lot of perspectives, but also just to connect with a lot more people.
You have to go for your opportunities. I think I've had this conversation with a few people now, especially with what I'm doing right now, where I hit up a bunch of people at the same time, different messages, voice messages. I hit people up at 6 a.m. No one is alive. People are sleeping. Full on message explaining that I have this idea and I want to execute it. I could get really badly rejected right now because I really just popped up in someone's DM and was like, hey, do you like want to do a video and like chat about your music? And surprisingly, I'm so shocked because so many people actually said yes. If you don't shoot your shot, you're not gonna know. Even if you do get rejected, who cares? There's other opportunities, do you know what I mean? And I guess that brings me, what's next for you? And what are you working on currently?
Currently, I think I've got a backlog of recordings with people that I need to like sort out ASAP. Obviously, plugging myself and getting used to discussing all my accolades. It's a weird notion having to train yourself to be more outgoing, but I think it's definitely a thing people have to kind of get used to if you're trying to grow as a musician, or just grow in any field. It's new to me, but it's something that I'm kind of getting used to. Like, networking is key. What else am I going to be doing? I honestly have no clue, I think, because again, like, quite a lot of what I do in music kind of rides on what's coming up next for other artists. I think I'm just going to keep on, you know, recording with different people, collaborating as much as possible, and, you know, just helping people to achieve their dreams in this music thing. That's kind of what I'm here for, I think.
You have some serious achievements, and it's only going to go up from here. That's the amazing part. Honestly, it's been such a pleasure talking to you, and I just want to say thank you for coming to talk to me.
Nina, it's honestly an honor to have been able to do this interview with you. To all the aspiring musicians, I promise we are going to make it through this. Keep pushing, keep vibing, keep going strong with whatever it is you're doing. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much for having me. I hope we get to do more in the future, fam.
TNIA.